It's 11:30 p.m. on Wednesday, April 23rd, and somebody is making really loud drilling noises in my bathroom from somewhere in Unit 78 right now. Someone is using a power drill. And as soon as I got up from my bed and started recording, once again, suddenly stopped. Why is anybody using a power drill in my bathroom at 11:30 p.m.? Does maintenance live in Unit 78 right now? The psycho circus of pedophile scum in all of the adjacent units to mine just never ends. I mean, these are pedophiles, registered pedophiles. Jasmine Irizarry, registered pedophile sex offender. Psycho thug directly below in 76, acts like a sex offender, looks like a sex offender. Last time I saw them when they came up to my door a year and a half ago. I don't know if that's the same person or if it's a different person now. And then Jason DaCosta, the perving, masturbating, violent piece of shit in Unit 88, directly next door. Pedophile, violent, ugly, perving, career pervert, basically, because he never left his unit in the 3 years that he lived in Unit 88, was recently moved out of Unit 88 for repeatedly threatening to kill me. He also seems to have a thing for little teen girls because he would scream and shout my niece's names out in the hallway whenever I would randomly mention either of my nieces in passing to my mom or dad when I'd be having a private conversation in the privacy of my living space. And Mr. DaCosta seems to know a lot about my young teen nieces, including their hair color and breast size. That's a concern. How does that pedophile piece of shit even know that my nieces exist? If I'm having a conversation in the privacy of my living space and I happen to mention, oh, this person or that person, how does anyone know who I'm referring to? Unless they're hate stalking my entire family, which is a thing that BLM does because they're disturbed pedophile pieces of shit who can't leave people alone when these people do not want to be their special friend. So why is somebody using a power drill in Unit 78 right now, directly behind my bathroom at 11:30 p.m. on a Wednesday, is suddenly stopped as soon as I started recording? That's weird. All the violent slamming and banging stops as soon as I start recording. Do they know I'm recording? How would they know if I'm recording? Right? Oh, because Jasmine Irizarry is the Greenville Group's surveillance expert, as Mr. Oleg Alexeyev has bragged in direct one-on-one conversations I've had with him. Other staffers have also referred to Jasmine Irizarry as Greenville surveillance expert. All the stupid pigs who hate stalk my channel and don't know what they're talking about, who think that Irizarry isn't in this building. Of course she is. The Greenville Group is using her as their fixer. They wouldn't be able to function without her. She is their surveillance expert, you fucking retards. How pathetically stupid are you pieces of shit who hate stalk my channel, have nothing else to do with your sad, wasted lives other than watch videos that you then can't stop complaining about? Do me a favor, ghetto trash, BLM, hate stalking, pedophile, perving, masturbating, disturbed, obsessive ghetto trash. And I include white people in that because a lot of BLM supporters are also not minorities. So it's anyone who supports BLM, because BLM are a bunch of career thugs who hate stalk people, who do not do anything to help the Black community, and have embezzled millions and millions of donor dollars on strippers, hookers, and peep show workers. Why don't you watch Candace Owens's documentary that she made? And she's a Black woman. So you know what? If you think that I'm a racist for saying that BLM are nothing but ghetto trash, well, Candace Owens also thinks so, and she's Black. So is she racist? Is it possible for Black people to be racist? No, it's just these lowlifes who support BLM and think that there's some sort of benevolent charity are too stupid to understand that if you support BLM, you're supporting Marxist communism, an anti-American hate group who deliberately destroys and burns down things that they don't like. And that's who the landlord, a crooked Russian slumlord, the Kritnik family and Mr. Alexeyev, criminals, because they've actually been taken to court multiple times by the city of Boston for criminal negligence in my apartment. So, yes, they are criminals. They've been charged criminally by the city of Boston for negligence and criminal violations of the housing code in my apartment multiple times over the last few years. These crooked criminal slumlords like to cram large numbers of so-called BLM activists in my building. And these are not really activists, they're just career thugs who hate stalk women and use surveillance devices in people's bathrooms to dox their hygiene practices because it's a hate stalking BLM thing. Now there's no more drilling. That's weird. I mean, if the drilling was legitimate, if somebody really has an urgent need right now at almost midnight to use a power drill against the walls of my bathroom, then wouldn't they still be doing it? Why does it suddenly stop as soon as I sit up in my bed, get up, put my shoes on, get my phone, and then start recording? It was still going on when I was looking for my phone. It suddenly stopped as soon as I hit the record button. It's almost like they know what I'm doing in here. That's just so weird. Because if they're such upstanding, law-abiding citizens, they could never possibly be using surveillance devices in this unit, as dozens of people have told me they are. I mean, that is just not possible because they're such upstanding citizens and normal people who mind their own business and enjoy their own lives. They're so normal, they could never possibly use surveillance devices in my living space. Fucking rejects. Yeah, what a fucking joke. Of course they are. They're a bunch of mentally disturbed, hate-stalking, pedophile scum. All pedophiles. Oh, yeah, you want another pedophile who lives in this building? Michael Collins, Mark Collins, Jason DaCosta, Jasmine Irizarry, and Robert McLean. He's a sex offender. I have a funny feeling he had something to do with the rape and murder of a cold case like 30 years ago. He's a disgusting, creepy pedophile piece of shit. He hasn't left me alone the whole time I've lived here. When I moved in, I thought he was a nice guy. I was getting him like Christmas cards and stuff. And then I realized there's something really malignant about him, and he hates women. Not only does he hate women, he encourages a lot of harassment against them. I would know. A lot of that harassment has been against me in the many years that I've lived here. The truth always comes out. So Mr. Robert McLean, also known as Swayze, I hope they realize what he did to a murdered girl named Karina Holmer back in 1997. Mr. Robert McLean might have had something to do with that murder. He has a thing for gang rape. Don't ask me how I know this. It's something that I personally experienced in 2018. I sent a very long, detailed, horrific letter to the police about how I was almost gang raped by some of Mr. Robert McLean's associates back in 2018, late one night when I was walking home from the subway. Charles Thomas was also involved in that incident. Thankfully, I realized what was happening and literally threw myself onto the front porch of a nearby house where a whole bunch of people were hanging out randomly late at night. And that saved me. I literally tried to melt into the crowd so that the two men who were following me from the subway station and literally coming at me in the dark, and back then my eyesight was perfect and I was able to see who and what was coming at me and what was going on. Two different men coming at me from two different directions, but they were both coming right at me. And then there was a vehicle like slowly driving up the driveway where I happened to be trying to escape into. I was saved by my quick thinking, brilliant brain that realized very fast what was going on. And the police were so stupid, they never investigated. They're useless. They clearly, they're criminally stupid. If I make a complaint, they think that I'm imagining something, and they've been doing this for I don't know how long. It's not possible for somebody to accurately record over a dozen scientific studies and to publish over a dozen scientific studies as a named, listed co-author. Most of those studies at Harvard Medical School and imagine things. You can't imagine things and be a scientist at the master's level in a successful capacity, not just at Harvard Medical School, but in the pharmaceutical industry. It's not possible. Scientific publication is based on needlepoint, razor blade accuracy every single time that you do a study. And I was instrumental in publishing and co-authoring over 13 scientific studies. One of them was my thesis for my PhD program that was not just selected for publication, but was presented by the American Psychological Association at their national convention. So these stupid police retards who literally victim blame when a victim comes forward and gives them something that they're too stupid to do anything about, they're the stupid delusional ones, not the victim. So it's so weird because while I've been sitting here just blabbing into my phone, the power drilling coming from Unit 78 into my bathroom has suddenly stopped and has not resumed. Again, if somebody was legitimately needing to use a power drill at 11:35 p.m. on a weeknight, wouldn't they still be using the power drill? Why did it suddenly stop as soon as I started recording on my camera? Well, because they don't want me recording. That's why. And probably because they're doing something they shouldn't. Pedophiles do that. They do stuff they shouldn't. And then when you pull out a camera, they suddenly stop. That's how